let's say there are 10 users who have the same profile, and microphones on mute please everyone. Suresh and Rohit. Okay, I have muted your microphones from my side. Alright. So if there are 10 users, okay, and they have the same profile, I'm talking about profile now, right? So profile basically controls what all permissions we discussed, right? Apps, objects, tabs, all these things, not records. Record and data is again has got to do with the organization by default or sharing settings. So that is a different side. Here I'm talking about a profile. So let's say there are 10 users who have same profile, which means they will get to see same apps, same objects, same tabs, same fields, right? All of them get to see same sort of these things. Now there is one of these users, out of this one user, his name is let's say Rohit. He is working on one special project, one more project he is handling, all right? Now he needs access to let's say one extra app. He needs one additional app access. One additional app access is required by him. Okay. Now this is a project on which Rohit is the only one who is working. Out of these 10 users, Rohit is the only one who is working on one additional project, and he needs access to one more app. Okay, so something which is not already there in his profile. Got it? Now what is the option that we have? So before I start discussing on this, I just want, now you understand profiles, you understand OWD. I want an answer from you. So if you are an administrator, by whatever knowledge you have at this point of time, you should be able to answer. What will you do? You should have an approach. So who will give me an answer for this? This is the situation that I have come to. 10 users, I created a profile for all 10 of them, done. Now the business owner came to me, he said that, see, this guy Rohit will need access to one more app. Okay. Now what should I do? Anyone?
Hi Jit, Rohit here.
Yeah,
I guess we will choose a profile and we will clone it, and during the this cloning of the profile we will allow one additional whatever the app we want to do.
Okay, so basically what he is suggesting is create one more profile for Rohit and give that additional permission on that. Okay, that is one solution. Anyone who can think of any other solution apart from this?
Ajit, hi, this is Ankit.
Yeah,
Ajit, I guess we need to extend the sharing rule for that particular user.
No, but sharing rule has, again, sharing rule has got nothing to do with these things. No? Sharing rule is all about data. Sharing rule is for what? Data, right?
Okay.
Sharing rule, yeah. Sharing rule is
not the entire app.
No. That is the reason why I told you that this is related to the profile thing. So we'll have to make it very clear, understanding that OWD, sharing rule, sharing setting, everything is related to data. Okay. So sharing concept comes where, try and understand this. Let me make things easier for you. Sharing concept comes when you own something, then only you can share it with me, right? Let's say there is a laptop that is owned by Ankit, then Ankit can share it with me. Sharing concept comes there, right? But when there is something which is not owned by neither you nor me, then it's not about sharing, it's all about access, right? So like apps, objects, tabs, these are the things which are not owned by any user in the company, right? These are common things. So for common things we need access. When you go to a public park, you don't say that I'm sharing public park with you. You don't own it, so you cannot share it with me. It's just that if you have access to that particular park or whatever area which is common, and if I have access there. Got it? So access permissions of profile are for things which are not owned by anyone. So if you see, there is no owner of apps. So for you to keep things in mind very simply, anything which has an owner, that will be shared. So that has to be handled by sharing settings. So what has owners? Data has owners, right? Record owners. App owner, we have not seen app owner concept. There is no object owner. There is no owner for an object owner, right? So okay, so that was just one small aspect that I wanted to discuss, just for things to be clarified for you all. Now what is the other option? So sharing setting, okay, cannot happen. Any other option? Anyone who can think of? Narayan, what is your thought? I hope you all got the question right. Out of 10 users, one user needs additional permission. One very simple solution which Rohit suggested is go ahead and create one more profile, which is fine. I mean, which is a solution that may be practically feasible, not feasible. That is something which we will discuss, but which is a solution. Anyone else? What other solution can you think of? No, nothing else. Okay. So I'll just go with what Rohit suggested. So let's continue our discussion on this. Fine. So basically we will go and create one more profile. Okay, good. Now after a couple of days, there's another user whose name is Ankit. He has started working on some other project and he needs additional permission. May happen now that, okay, if Rohit is working on one extra project, Ankit also might get one additional project to work on and he needs additional permission. Then what will we do? We'll go and create one more profile for Ankit. Then what happens? After a few days, there's one more user, Narayan. He needs access to one extra tab which others do not need. Practically this will happen, right? If two people need access to extra things, after a couple of days the other person will also need. So this way, gradually what will happen, we will end up having too many profiles. Got this thing? So we are actually not talking about 10 users or something. Sometimes in the companies you will have 40 users, 50 users who are having the same profile, and definitely when you have 40, 50 people in the same profile, they will have that requirement of certain exceptional requirements, certain additional permissions. They will have that requirement, right? Now this way, what will happen, we will end up having a lot of profiles. Or in that way, then what will happen, it will become very difficult for us to control which profile has what permissions, how many profiles, assigning them, right? So that reusability of the profile concept will be lost, right? So for that reason, what Salesforce has done, they have allowed us another thing which is called a permission set. Okay, permission set is also a collection of permissions. This is also a collection of permissions. Okay, same like profile, but this is not the primary set of permissions that a user will have. This is additional permissions for users. Got it? So permission set is basically additional permission for user. Got it? So using permission set, what I can do, instead of this solution, instead of creating a one more profile, I would create a permission set, put the permissions, additional permissions, whatever additional is required, whatever is already there in profile, that doesn't need to be put in this. Additional permissions in this, in the permission set, assign it to user. So this phase, what is happening? This phase you are trying to avoid multiple profiles. You're trying to avoid too many profiles and all that stuff, right? So this is what happens here. We'll create a permission set. You will put the additional permission and give that permission set to the user. Okay. So advantage, you don't have to make changes on the profile. You don't have to create additional profiles. You can remove the permission set, revoke the permission set whenever you require. Again, Let's say if you create a new profile, then the challenge will be after a few days, if Rohit's project is over and he just wants to get back to that profile again, what will you do? Again change his profile, or take him back to the previous profile and remove this profile. So becomes a very difficult thing. But instead, once his requirement is over, just remove the permission set. That's it. Okay. So this permission set works as an add-on, top up, extra cheese on your pizza, so that sort of thing, right? So let the pizza be same for everyone, and then just try to add a bit of extra cheese on that. So that is the kind of thing it is. Okay. Now that is what permission set does, but permission set is strictly again meant for these things: apps, objects, tabs, fields, these things. Okay, it has got nothing to do with the data. So now if you can relate these two things, you would see that what sharing rule was doing to OWD, same thing is being done by permission set to the profile. Sharing rule was being used, last session we talked about sharing rule. So sharing rule was for defining exceptions to the OWD, right? OWD is generic, sharing rule is to define exceptions. Same thing is being done by permission set. So permission set is used to define any exceptions on the profile. There is a user, he has got a profile, he does not have access to all the data. There is a user, he has a profile, he does not have certain permissions which he wants. We will just go ahead and give that permission set to the user. Alright, make sense? Simple logic on the permission set thing. So now we have four things here. We have profiles, we have permission sets, we have OWD, and we have sharing rules. So profile is basically collection of permissions to apps, objects, tabs, fields, right? Permission sets, add-on permissions, OWD, organization wide default, org wide default sharing setting. So primarily it is either public or private. And this is only for data. This is only for data. Okay. So wherever we are talking about data access, we are talking about OWD and all. For everything else, there is profile. So this is another way of keeping it in mind. So whenever there is the concept of data access and all, it has to be OWD. For everything else, it will be profile. Talk about applications, objects, fields, everything else, it's profile. Okay, profiles and permission sets. Sharing rules to define exceptions on OWD. Are we clear on this? Anyone has a question or doubt here? Please let me know. Okay, good. So everyone is seems to be okay on this. Now there is one more concept. So far we have discussed about a lot of things. There is one more concept that we need to consider. We talked about OWD and we then talked about sharing settings, right? And the sharing rules also. Do you think there will be few people in the company, maybe let's say an administrator or the top level management people, some people will be there who would need to see all the data, okay, and who would not want to be affected by whatever is happening here. Correct? So there will be few people in the company who need access to all the data irrespective of what the administrator is doing here. They should not be affected by that, and they should get to see all the data at all point of time. Got that thing? So certain roles or certain job requirements might need them to have an access to all the data. Let's say if you are an administrator, you are uploading the data, you are doing a data cleansing activity. If you don't see all the data, how will you do the data cleansing? If you are a reporting analyst, you try to take out the data, prepare reports. If you do not see all the data, then how will you do the reporting? Again, if you are the owner of the business, or you are the lead of a particular business line, and you just want to see all the data. If you don't see all the data, then how will you control things? So that sort of thing, right? Now, OWD and sharing rules can help you, but how many times are we going to define the sharing rule for the same guy? Let's say Suresh is a person who does reporting, okay? So how many sharing rules will I go and define for Suresh? That okay, give access of Narayan's data to Suresh, give access of Ankit's data to Suresh. So that becomes very difficult, right? So for that reason, what we would do is we will use another concept, which is view all and modify all concept. What is view all? Permission to view all the data in an object. Okay. So these are two permissions which can let a user or allow a user to view all the data in a given object or to modify all the data in a given object. Okay, and both these permissions, if someone has, they are not affected anyhow by the OWD. So if you have a view all permission, no matter what the OWD says, it's private, public, it's your manager's data, it's your subordinate's data, you will get to see all the data. So anyone who has this permission is not affected by the sharing settings. So there will be a few users who you would want to keep out of the sharing setting thing. Correct? So these sharing rules or the sharing settings which we are talking about, they would not affect people or users who have view all and modify all permissions. So if there are certain users who you just want to have that modified, like database administrator. A database administrator will need access to all the data, right? Maybe a reporting expert who just needs to do the reporting. He needs to access all the data, view all the data. So that way. Got it? Okay. So this view all and modify all permission are usually given on the profile. So if anyone has tried creating a profile or has got a chance to go to the profiles, you might have noticed in the profiles where you have the object permissions, standard or custom object permissions. Object permissions, if you have done this, you might have seen this thing, that there is read, create, edit, delete. If you have not done this today, after this session, try go and search it, view all and modify all. So these are 6 levels of permission on the object in profile. Whether you want to give a read. So we discussed in last session about read, create, delete and edit. These permissions we discussed. Just beside that you will see this view all and modify all also. So if you give a view all permission on a certain object, that profile users will get to see all the data in that object. Got it? Okay. So give me a moment. Just let me log in into Salesforce. I'll show it to you. Hey, Suresh, can you quickly give me the password, please? Okay. So I think you guys can see my screen now. Let's see, first of all, let us have a quick look at that view all and modify all in a profile. So on the profile, if you go and open any of the profile, and where we usually go and change the object permissions. Let me take a custom profile so that I can edit and show you. Custom sales profile. Scroll down. You see this? So we have already discussed about this standard object permission, custom object permission. So we have read, create, edit, delete, and then view all and modify all access, right? So this is meant for people who need to see all the data in that object. So if I give accounts view all permission, so the users of this profile will get to see all the accounts, no matter even if the OWD is private. They will get to see private data also. So basically that is what it means. Anyone who has this, they get to see private data also. Anyone who has this permission will get to modify the private data as well. Got it? So that's about the view all and modify all. In addition to these two permissions, there is one more permission which is called view all data and modify all data. So this view all and modify all is basically for one object. View all data is permission to see all the data in the database across objects. Alright. So what is this? This is basically the permission to modify all the data across objects. Got this? And to modify or to view all the data across objects. So where is this view all data, modify all data? If you scroll up a little, you will find it in the admin permissions, modify all data and view all data. Okay, this is just for your understanding. So these two permissions, view all data and modify all data permission, can be given to a user so that he can see all the data in all the objects. Then he does not even need these things. The moment I have given a view all data, by default all these things got selected. These were not selected by default. Then you don't have to go and worry about whether you have selected this or not. If I give a modify all data permission here, see, everything got selected. So for users who need this kind of access, you will give view all data or modify all data. If you just want to give access on one single object, then use view all and modify all below the object permissions. Okay.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, please go ahead.
In an organization, there might be assistant manager, marketing manager, and different positions. And how can we determine that, which guy need which profile, like a standard user profile or standard platform user, or which profile he needs, and at which stage we are assigning that profile?
Hey, so you just need to basically figure out that who needs what level of access. Got it? And then you decide on
So there might be a standard for each organization, right? Like this position might be this user or like that.
It's not about position. See, position has got nothing to do with the profile. It's about the department or the kind of function that you are into, right? So let's say if you see here, in profiles also, you will see there is a marketing profile, there is a sales profile, correct? So there is a marketing user profile, there is a standard user profile, there is a read-only profile, there is a custom sales profile, custom marketing profile. So these are the profiles, right? So if ideally if there is a sales guy, he should have the sales profile as per say the Salesforce permissions defined. But if you want to make certain changes, you can go and make it, right? So because profile has got nothing to do with the data part, it is all about the apps, objects and all. So usually if you have a team of marketing users, then you should create a marketing profile for them and give access to them to the app, marketing app, the objects which are used in the marketing like campaigns, leads, these objects they should be able to see. If there's a sales profile, then that sales profile they should see. Ideally, let's just discuss a small scenario here. Let's say you have campaigns, leads, accounts, contacts, opportunities, cases, solutions. Okay, so these are the objects. Let's say these are the total objects that you have. Now you have
Yes, screen is still, I guess it is not moving.
Screen is not moving. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say these are the objects that I have total. Okay, you are running you're in a company and the company has all these objects. These are the all objects that they have, right? Then they have a marketing team, they have a sales team, and then they have a customer support team. Okay, and then they have a small IT team which is basically into database admin. Okay, now what do you think? What all objects marketing team need to access? Out of all this, would you want to give access of cases to marketing team? Do they have anything to do with that?
No.
Customer queries, customer grievances, customer cases, tickets. What will marketing team do with that? That's not their job. So they don't need access to that. Who needs access to cases? Customer support team. So these are the people who will need access to cases and solutions. Marketing team needs more of access to the campaigns and leads. They would be more interested in looking into what all campaigns they have to do and what all lead they could generate. Sales team will be more interested into the accounts, or maybe starting from leads at least. They will talk to the leads, then create accounts and contacts, and they will focus on the opportunities. Right? And IT team maybe will need access to all the data, all the objects, because they are the one who are doing certain things. Okay, so you can easily go and create these 4 different profiles here. So this is how we start with the profile thing. Now let's further drill down into this. Okay, now marketing team, when we are talking about, I think there is one area where you guys are getting confused. Is in the marketing team, let's say there is a general guy, maybe an analyst, and then there is an assistant manager, and then there is a manager. Okay, but even if they are at different levels, they all need access to these things, no? Campaigns and leads. You cannot say that okay, well, campaigns should only be visible to manager, because analyst also has to work on campaigns, so he should have access to campaigns, right? Now the thing comes that if the analyst get to see the campaigns, does he get to see all the campaigns, or he just gets to see the campaigns that he is working on or he has been assigned? Got it? So that is where your OWD will come into picture. But profile will be defined based on what all things they need to access. So there will be no different profile for these three people who are working under the same team. Correct? So it's not that assistant manager needs a different profile, manager needs a different profile. Most of the cases, 90 out of 100 or 95 out of 100 cases, they would need the same profile because they are working on the same function. Okay, same service line, same business, same process. So they need access to same object and same data or same apps they need to view, right? Yeah, it may happen that they might not get to see all the data. They might, the data can be made private. So that is now something which has to be dealt with the OWD thing, organization by default and sharing settings. Now is that clear with this example? Does that become a little more clear now? Praveen?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So we have understood this part. Now just one small thing that we will do is permission set we talked about, and we have understood permission set. I would just quickly show you a demonstration of how to create a permission set and how to assign it to user. Okay. So this permission set is also under manage users. Yes. Under manage users, there is permission sets. Just before profiles, you will find permission sets. So permission set, as I told you, this is a permission set which is given to the user with additional permission. So you can just go ahead and create a new one. There are no standard permission sets. You always have to go and create. So let's say I'm talking about an additional permission of our HR manager app. Let me just create a permission set, and here you will need to give app permissions. So just assigned apps, which all apps have been assigned, just click on assigned apps, click on edit and give the HR manager permission on this. So this HR manager app permission has got added. So this way you can go and put more permissions. So now this permission has been put into this permission set. Now this permission set 1 holds this permission of viewing this app. Now what I need to do, I need to assign this permission set to the user. That's the only thing that I have to do. So you can go to the users, whichever user you want to give that permission set. Click on that user, scroll down a little, you will see permission set assignments. Okay, so don't click on edit, just scroll down a little, you will see permission set assignments, click on edit assignments and give that permission set. So whichever permission set you want to give. So now I have given permission set 1. What this permission set 1 consists of? This consists of that additional app permission. That's it. Save it. Done. So now this user has additional permissions of this permission set in addition to whatever permissions he has got from his profile. So profile, whatever he has got, that all is there. Profile is defined here. So whatever is in the profile, that's there, and this is the add-on part. So you can give multiple permission sets to the same user. All right. Is that clear, everyone? Fine.
Yeah.
So if these are a few things, I mean, if this is from where? From here to here, if these, the crux of this entire discussion that we have been doing for last 2 sessions, if we understand these 6-7 lines, nothing else is required, right? So overall, this is what it is all about. And if you keep these, things, just make small one-liner for all these things. Okay. If you just have this thing, anytime you have a requirement, you will understand what exactly needs to be done there. But it's about controlling apps, objects, and all these things. Definitely has to do with profiles. If I cannot go and make changes on the profile directly because others will get affected, it's just about a user, then go to permission sets. If it's about data, then it has to be OWD. After giving, controlling things through OWD, if there is certain additional permission which is required to be given to some user, think of sharing rules. If there are certain users who need to access all the data and they do not, they should not be controlled by the OWD thing, they should get view all, modify all access. That's it. Apart from this, there is nothing else which is required to be understood here. Now, whatever is the situation can be resolved using these, tools that we have: the profile permission set, OWD, sharing rules, and this view all, modify all. 6 things. That's it. Clear? All right. So, so then that's fine. I think that is what we will be doing today. And tomorrow, once we meet, we are gonna get into the customization part. So we will discuss about the customizations in tomorrow's session, right? So primarily the UI customization and all. So that is what we're gonna discuss in tomorrow's session. So that's it, I think, for today. And we'll see you all